Coming up, a historic partnership that will help make more COVID-19 vaccines.
And what's at stake in this upcoming Supreme Court ruling.
All that and more today, Wednesday, March 3rd. Good morning, Emerson. I'm Amog Matthews.
And I'm Danielle Finezza. We begin with today's top stories.
Yesterday, President Joe Biden announced that the pharmaceutical giant Merck will be partnering with other pharmaceutical giant Johnson & Johnson. The federal government struck a deal with Merck to use 2 of their U.S. facilities. They will be used to manufacture Johnson & Johnson vaccines. In January, Merck scrapped plans to develop its own vaccines after clinical trials showed that their shot was ineffective. Officials say about 16 million Johnson & Johnson doses are expected by the end of the month. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is a single-dose option, unlike Pfizer and Moderna's, and the vaccine will also be able to be stored at refrigerator temperatures for months.
An upcoming Supreme Court decision could weaken the power of the Voting Rights Act. The case surrounds 2 voting restrictions from Arizona. One makes it criminal for someone, excluding family members and caregivers, to deliver another person's completed ballot. The other disqualifies ballots cast in a different precinct than the one a voter registered in. The court is debating how these restrictions may have disproportionate effects on minority groups, as the Voting Rights Act was created to end racial discrimination in voting. The court, however, seemed ready to uphold these 2 restrictions yesterday. An official ruling is not due until June.
Yesterday, FBI Director Chris Wray made it clear to lawmakers that quote-unquote fake Trump supporters were not a part of the January 6th U.S. Capitol attack. This comes as 7 GOP lawmakers endorsed baseless theories that Antifa sparked violence at the Capitol. Wray also made it clear that the actions done by rioters is considered domestic terrorism. Yesterday, he also said that the FBI is, quote, not aware of any widespread evidence of voter fraud, end quote. Notably, the FBI director did not use the hearing to denounce lawmakers who endorse QAnon, an online web of conspiracies, but did say QAnon was part of the motivation for the attack. Crazy stuff.
Texas and Mississippi are lifting their statewide mask mandates. Both states are also rolling back the majority of their COVID-19 related restrictions. Texas Governor Greg Abbott says it is now time to open Texas 100%. This comes just one day after the CDC warned states against complacency amid spreading coronavirus variants. President Biden says the fight is far from over and urges all Americans to continue wearing masks and social distancing. Despite warnings, Abbott's executive order goes into effect March 10th, making Texas the largest state to end rules aimed to slow the virus's spread.
And now for the latest updates on the COVID-19 pandemic. So, some kind of good news. This past Monday, Massachusetts will move into Phase 3, Step 2 of its reopening plan. This all happens as the state has had its lowest number of daily COVID cases since last fall and has vaccinated more than 500,000 residents. In fact, just yesterday, more than 2,000 Johnson & Johnson doses arrived at Tufts Medical Center. What it means is that restaurants can open in full capacity, live music can start again, and indoor performance venues may reopen at half capacity for up to 500 people. But experts say that this move can cause another surge in cases, especially with the variant floating around.
Former President Trump received the coronavirus vaccine in secret. Both the former president and First Lady were vaccinated in January, prior to leaving the White House. Trump encouraged people to get vaccinated for the first time at the Conservative Political Action Conference Sunday. This came as a surprise for many, as his supporters have expressed hesitancy regarding the vaccine. Other political figures, such as President Biden and former Vice President Mike Pence, received their shots on TV in an effort to minimize vaccine-related fear.
Speaking of the White House, our correspondent Madison Goldberg has the latest in politics.
This week, we're following the sexual misconduct allegations against New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. Madison?
Yes, Amog and Danielle. A former aide to Governor Cuomo is speaking out following his apology. Charlotte Bennett is now one of 3 former aides to accuse Cuomo of sexual harassment. In a statement on Sunday, the governor said he may have been, quote, insensitive or too personal, and that some of my comments, given my position, made others feel in ways I never intended. Bennett felt Cuomo did not truly take responsibility for his predatory behavior and said, quote, these are not the actions of someone who simply feels misunderstood. They are the actions of an individual who wields his power to avoid justice. An investigation under State Attorney General Letitia James into all 3 harassment claims is ongoing. And Vernon Jordan, former Clinton advisor and civil rights leader, has died at 85. His daughter Vicki Jordan confirmed his death in a statement on Tuesday, though no cause was given. Born in 1935 in Atlanta, Georgia, Jordan went on to begin his career in civil rights in 1971 when he graduated from the Howard University School of Law. He was selected to lead the National Urban League when he was in his 30s. It was there that he survived an assassination attempt in 1980. After becoming a close confidant to former President Bill Clinton, he quickly became embroiled in the Monica Lewinsky scandal and testified 5 times in court. He is survived by his daughter, wife, and 3 stepchildren. And former President Donald Trump spoke for the first time since the Biden presidency began. His speeches at the Conservative Political Action Conference hinted at a 2024 run, and he continued to uphold the voter fraud conspiracy that he claims cost him the election. Trump said, quote, "I stand before you today to declare that the incredible journey we began together 4 years ago is far from over." The former president also stated that he had no intention of creating a new political party, the reason being that it would likely split the Republican vote needed to re-elect him in 4 years. This speech came just weeks after Trump was acquitted in a second impeachment trial. Trump remains the only U.S. president to be impeached twice. And the Senate voted to confirm Miguel Cardona to lead the U.S. Education Department. Cardona was the first Latino to serve as Education Commissioner in Connecticut after being the youngest school principal in the state. Cardona said he intends to, quote, "address inequities head on." This comes as schools across the nation are gradually attempting to return to in-person instruction as the COVID-19 vaccine is distributed. President Biden initially promised to get students from kindergarten through 8th grade back to school in the first 100 days of his presidency. That's all from me for this week. Back to you, Imogen Danielle.
Thanks, Madison. The Boston Marathon, like many other events, are going virtual this year. The Boston Athletic Association announced Tuesday that they will hold a virtual marathon along with the in-person race. Both events will take place in October, depending on the state's guidelines on in-person gatherings at that time. The online event is first come, first serve, and is open to the first 70,000 people over the age of 18 to sign up. The association says runners will need to finish their 26.2-mile run in one nonstop attempt in order to qualify for their Unicorn Finishers Medal. These virtual participants will not have a time limit restraint.
Nearly 50,000 homes and businesses lost power Monday night as winds whirled through Boston. Provincetown was hit with the strongest wind gust, which reached 76 miles per hour. The wind damaged several homes across the state. A wind advisory was in effect until yesterday afternoon, when power outages had decreased to around 3,500 homes.
A new mass vaccination site will open up this weekend. The state of New Hampshire plans to open up a new site at Motor Speedway. The site opens on Friday and will operate Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. The site will be open for appointment only, and their goal is to vaccinate 10,000 people.
Boston renters are safe from eviction for another month. The Boston Housing Authority extended its moratorium on non-essential evictions to March 31st. Essential evictions are only those related to criminal activity or the health and safety of residents. Advocates say that these monthly extensions are not enough for the city's public housing residents. The eviction moratorium does not excuse tenants from paying rent. With up to 20% of residents currently behind on their rent, uncertainty remains for many. The Boston Housing Authority is urging those facing financial hardships to recertify their income for deduction in monthly fees.
This pandemic continues to impact people in many more ways than one. The COVID-19 crisis has threatened food security for millions of Americans. After the U.S. Department of Agriculture stopped delivering emergency deliveries to food pantries in Massachusetts, one Cambridge nonprofit stepped up to help.
Angel Salcido has the story in our newest segment, Heart of Boston.
Yeah, it's a harsh reality.
She's talking about food insecurity, and Bostonians are living through that harsh reality now more than ever.
1 in 11 children before COVID were food insecure, and that number is unfortunately now 1 in 5.
Stephanie Smith and Amanda Trombley work at Food for Free. It's an anti-hunger organization in Cambridge.
We're packing 500 boxes on Tuesday, 500 boxes on Wednesday, filled with a couple really solid dry goods that are staples, and then a bunch of produce. We've got a truck in the bay that is going to take all these boxes that we just made and go distribute them right away.
These volunteers pack and distribute hundreds of boxes weekly. Since the pandemic began, Food for Free's volunteer count has jumped from 20 to 300 people per week.
Right when COVID hit, it was an all-hands-on-deck situation. We're seeing more of a need now because the economic crisis is just getting worse.
Now, COVID has put the need for organizations like Food for Free at an all-time high, but the people here tell me their jobs will get even more important as the world finds its new normal.
It's going to take the economy a while to recover from this, so I think the need is still going to be pretty significant.
But that need doesn't just exist for those who are food insecure.
Volunteering during COVID has been a lifesaver for the people that we're serving, but also for the volunteers themselves. I mean, people are isolated, alone. For volunteers, it's just as life-giving for them as it is for the people that these boxes are going to.
Food for Free distributed 2.7 million pounds of food to more than 30,000 people in 2020. They will run 7 different food assistance programs in the greater Boston area through 2021. Reporting in Cambridge, Angel Salcido. Good morning, Emerson.
One of those 7 programs that Angel mentioned is a home delivery program for low-income residents in Cambridge.
According to Feeding America, 13% of Cambridge residents don't know where their next meal is coming from. To learn more or to see how you can help, visit foodforfree.org.
When we come back, my man Joey Dubois joins us with sports.
And later, the Emerson alum that won big at the Golden Globes. Stick around.
Hey, we're your roomies, your homies, your new living best.
We live here too.
Thanks.
Liz!
Action.
Do you have any idea what time it is?
It's time.
7. Oh, 7? It would mean a lot to me if you guys watch.
Welcome back to Good Morning Emerson.
We're kicking things over to Joey Dubois with sports. Looks like we're finally seeing some sports return for the new season.
Thanks, you two. Baseball is finally back. Spring training is in full swing with the first exhibitions being played over the weekend. The Los Angeles Dodgers are favorites heading into the season, coming off of a championship a year ago. Plus, they added Trevor Bauer to an already nasty rotation. They have a new in-division rival, though, in Fernando Tatis in the San Diego Padres, who also loaded up on pitchers this offseason. Out east, the New York Yankees are the American League favorites, as long as stars like Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton can stay healthy. Opening day for the regular season is April 1st. The NBA announced their 2021 All-Stars last week. Lakers star LeBron James and Nets star Kevin Durant will captain each team, with the All-Star draft taking place this Thursday night. However, Durant will miss the game with an injury, so Celtics forward Jason Tatum will take Durant's spot in the starting lineup. For the first time ever, the dunk contest will take place at halftime of the All-Star game, creating the dream night for any basketball fan. The NBA All-Star game and dunk contest will take place this Sunday night. Staying in the NBA, the Toronto Raptors are the latest team to deal with the COVID-19 breakout. Recent games have been postponed since they can't field the necessary 8 players, thanks to positive tests and contact tracing. The virus continues to take a toll on individual teams, but it is yet to force an entire league stoppage as many had expected coming into the year. Despite their recent struggles with COVID, the Raptors currently sit in 7th place in the Eastern Conference. In the NFL, this offseason could produce unprecedented quarterback movement. We've already seen Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff, and Carson Wentz change teams, and that could just be the tip of the iceberg. It is well known that Deshaun Watson wants out of Houston, but here's a new name to monitor as well, Russell Wilson. The Seattle Seahawks and Super Bowl champ is reportedly unhappy with his role in the Seahawks offense and is considering requesting a trade. Wilson is arguably a top 3 quarterback in the game, and the Seahawks would demand a historic haul if they would consider trading him. That's all in the world of sports this week. I'm Joey Dubois. Back to you, Danielle and Amog.
Thanks, Joey. Now we're going to look to our entertainment correspondent, Carly Bronkema.
Carly has the latest on these children's books that you won't see on the shelves anymore.
Thanks to Moog and Danielle. It's true. To start us off today, we have some news from the publishing world. Dr. Seuss books were a staple to many childhood libraries, but a few titles will stop being published. These books, including If I Ran the Zoo and To Think I Heard It on Mulberry Street, contain racist and insensitive imagery. Dr. Seuss Enterprises said this decision came after months of discussion. The company's statement said, quote, "Ceasing sales of these books is only part of our commitment and our broader plan to ensure Dr. Seuss's Enterprises catalog represents and supports all communities and families." Netflix's newest show, Ginny and Georgia, was released just 2 weeks ago, but it is already under fire by swarms of fans. In the show, a daughter says to her mother, quote, "What do you care? You go through men faster than Taylor Swift." The singer-songwriter herself took to Twitter to express her frustrations and call out Netflix for the hypocrisy. In 2020, Swift released Miss Americana, a documentary about her life on Netflix. In it, she details the double standard of female celebrities being shamed for dating, while male celebrities are praised for it. Her tweet, which tagged the streaming service, ended with, quote, "Happy Women's History Month, I guess." Well, it's no small feat to produce an award show with your hosts on opposite coast and nominees being everywhere in between. People were unimpressed with the Golden Globes. The event aired Sunday night, and many actors used the platform to talk about issues within the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. There is not a single black member of the HFPA, and hosts Tina Fey and Amy Poehler spoke frankly about the issue. However, history was made when Chloe Zhao won Best Director for her film Nomadland. She is the first woman of color and only the second woman ever to win a Golden Globe in this particular category. Another highlight of the night was Simone Ledward Boseman, wife of the late star Chadwick Boseman, accepting his posthumous award for Best Actor for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. This comes only 6 months after the Black Panther star died of colon cancer. We also saw a fellow Lion take the big screen. Norman Lear, an Emerson alum from 1944, won the Carol Burnett Award for outstanding contributions to television, both on and off screen. And in more news about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the third Spider-Man film officially has a title and a release date. Spider-Man: No Way Home is set to release the week before Christmas of this year. The announcement was made last week after stars Tom Holland, Zendaya, and Jacob Batalon all posted fake titles. These included Phone Home, Homewrecker, and my personal favorite, Home Slice. The promo video posted on Twitter made fun of Spider-Man actor Tom Holland's habit of leaking materials about the film he is in. Rumors are already spreading that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield will make cameos in the film, but that has not been confirmed. That's all I've got for this week. Back to you two at the desk.
Thanks, Carly. Emersonians are making big waves out there in the world, are finding new ways to leave their mark right here on campus.
Our Emerson News correspondent, Catalina Perez de Armian, spoke with students about a new challenge on campus to help Emerson go green.
Hello, I'm Catalina Perez de Armian and welcome to Emerson News. You may have seen posters around about the Earth Emerson Challenge. We'll be talking to Ivy Miller, representative of Earth Emerson, about this and other environmental activism on campus.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the Earth Emerson Challenge?
The Earth Emerson Challenge kind of started out more focused around sustainability. We kind of wanted the challenge to be more of a conversation starter about climate change in general and more trying to get people to think about climate change or at least interact with it. So I would say first and foremost, it's really important to educate yourself, whether that means interacting with larger organizations, and Earth Emerson has resources on our website. If you have an idea for a project at Emerson that could help the environment, you should get in touch with Earth Emerson. You can also try to make it kind of like an intersectional project. There are people who work in student government and other organizations that I think would be more than happy to help take on a project that deals with climate change. Also, there are a lot of artists at Emerson, and one of the biggest ways that we get through to people about climate change and its seriousness is through media, and it's through art.
If you want to be part of making a better, more sustainable Emerson, make sure to participate in this challenge. Follow Earth Emerson on Instagram for more information about how you too can help save the world. I'm Catalina Perez Armiñan. Now back to the studio.
Wow, thanks so much, Catalina. That reminds me, I actually need to recycle more, Danielle.
I think we could all use that reminder. And speaking of our beautiful Earth, Good Morning Emerson's Maria Sato got the chance to chat with an Emerson student from the opposite side of the globe.
In our next segment, Campus Connect, we get to see how students from all parts of the world are taking on a virtual semester right here at Emerson.
Hi, Catalina. Thank you for joining us for this Campus Connect segment. Where are you joining us from?
I am joining you from Spain, just like a couple of hours outside Barcelona in the countryside.
So, Catalina, what's your day-to-day life like right now?
I'm doing my final semester, which I did the semester before this one, I did on campus and I was half online, half in person. But now it's fully online and I'm at home, so it's pretty crazy. But it's good. It's good to be home. In Spain, there's a 6-hour difference from Boston, so I coordinated my classes so that I have them in the afternoon. Like I try to wake up early and do some work. I try to have an early bedtime and things like that. But here it gets a little out of hand because I don't know how much you've heard about Spanish ways, but we tend to eat at like 2:30 p.m. and then dinner will be like, 9:30, 10 p.m. And so I'm like trying to insist on having like an earlier schedule. So that's a little bit of a struggle, actually. I try to go outside. I mean, again, I'm lucky because I'm here in like the fields and the forest. And so I can go on walks. That's really nice. This is the most random thing ever, and I don't know the word for it in English actually, but we have a little space in our garden for something called petanca, which is this game. Long story short, there's a little ball and then there's a big ball and you have to throw the big ball and try to get it as near as possible to the little one. And so we kind of go outside in the sun when it's sunny and spend all the hours of the sun kind of playing that game. It's so relaxed and like people here are just relaxing, which is nice.
Thank you, Catalina, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really nice talking to you guys. I miss Boston.
We miss you too. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Maria. Today on Good Morning Emerson, we're joined by our musical guest, Ortal Arias. Thank you so much for joining us, Ortal.
Thank you so much for having me, Enoch and Danielle. Happy to be here.
You grew up in Israel, and so in your music, do you draw on any like Israeli styles or musical things like that?
For sure, in the future, I would like to make songs in Hebrew and also collaborate with artists from the US and Latin America because I love Spanish too. And I would love to make songs that has English and or Spanish in them with Hebrew together. Wow. And bring the Israeli and Mediterranean style to it for sure.
Awesome. So I'm in a band myself. And one thing that we find really hard, especially during COVID, is promoting our music. So I'm just curious, like, what do you do to get your music and your sound out there?
I live in New York City right now, so when I walk outside, I try to create connections with people. For me, it's very important to create connections generally with people. I'm a social person, and I just introduce my song to them. I'm like, hey, I'm an artist. Would you like to listen to a new song? Would you like to be introduced to a new song? And I let them hear it. And that's what I do.
So we're very excited to hear your new song, Let It Go. Can you tell us a little bit about what it means to you and what's it about?
For me, it's the transition from Israel to the United States, because my first place in the United States was New York City. And in New York City, I felt like people accept me here for who I am. And they let me be and, appreciated me for whoever I was. And I felt like I could flourish here and be myself.
Beautiful message.
Yeah, that is such a beautiful meaning. We were listening to the song earlier and we loved it. So we're excited for everyone else to hear it later in the show. We have to ask, what do you have in the works? Are you working on any new projects? Do you have anything new coming out soon?
Since the moment I finished working on that song, my mind was already running, thinking about new ideas. I have a few ideas running, a few songs I'm writing right now. And yeah, so pretty soon I'll have some new stuff coming out.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Ortal. When we come back, we're going to hear her new single, Let It Go.
Stick around, you don't want to miss it.
Follow the ball.
Welcome back.
And now, singing her newest single, Let It Go, Ortal Arias.
Somewhere over the ocean, I found a place to
I really enjoyed that song, Danielle. It's my new favorite.
Me too, and we can't stop listening to it here at Good Morning Emerson.
And now, after that amazing jam session, we're going to head on over to our Happy News segment of the week. With all the depressing stuff that is happening in our world, we're taking this opportunity to share some stories that made us a little less depressed. Her parents are calling her the miracle baby, and doctors agree. Helen Wold-Michael gave birth to her daughter in a car during a winter storm Uri in Dallas. She wasn't due until May, but her baby girl arrived months early at only 25 weeks of pregnancy, weighing 1.11 ounces. She came into the world not crying at all. The baby's father, Abby, called 911 to get Helen an ambulance, but after being placed on hold, he continued to drive through terrible weather conditions. The baby arrived on Texas State Highway 75. The two named their daughter Amari, which means miracle in Hebrew.
Thanks to the help of some amazing volunteers, hundreds of rescued sea turtles found their way home again. During the cold front and power outages in Texas, sea turtles in the Gulf of Mexico were being cold stunned by the temperatures, placing them into a coma. Volunteers at Sea Turtle Inc., a sea turtle rescue center, were able to bring more than 5,000 turtles to safety in temporary hospital beds. Employees put them in pools to warm them up while they were out of power. Over the weekend, Sea Turtle Inc. reported that more than 2,000 of these rescues were returned back home into the Gulf.
A thrift store employee in Arizona discovered something she never expected. Teresa Farron found a Purple Heart at her Phoenix Goodwill, and she knew that she had to get it back to its owners. She found the name of the individual written on the back and traced it to Eric Blauberg's headstone. She then traced the name to his 8 children. One of his kids, Lisa Walker, proudly accepted her father's Purple Heart from his time served in the Korean War. Their father had left his belongings to his doctor, and this was the first ever possession his children received after his death.
Music to baby Manning Roldan's ears, literally. 11-month-old James Roldan from Virginia was born deaf in both ears. After numerous doctor visits, baby Manning was given cochlear implants in December 2020. His family uploaded a heartfelt video of him dancing on Facebook last month. But it wasn't just any video. It was the first time baby Manning heard music after getting his implants. Isn't that the sweetest, Amog?
That is so sweet. I love music, and good for him.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks so much for waking up with us. I'm Amog Matthews.
And I'm Danielle Finezza. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.